before you sponsor or you try to get B1 visa, because that might lead to other questions like, well, maybe you do really want to stay in the U.S. forever. Maybe a better answer for that person would be, when I get my green card, it's going to be through the consulate over here. I'm not going to do any change of status, adjustment of status over there. I know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm going to come home at the end of my assignment, and here's proof. Here's my return trip ticket. You know, here's all my itinerary. This is my employer. I've been to the U.S. before under a different visa, and I left on time. See, I'm a good boy. All of these things, you can prepare them.
Well, they will even ask you, because today with all the data integrated worldwide, there can be adequate information available with them about your past experience. So they can ask you about your previous, if you have violated any previous US immigration laws. So the best thing is, as people handling the travel risk and immigration risk in your respective organization, you have to ensure that, you know, prepare them for these questions, and even what to say, shortlist people. If you have people who have violated such rules, better not to even forward their application to the, submit their application to the US consulate.
Yeah, this was one other area. If there's family members for this person in the U.S., that might be another issue that you have to explain away. Because again, that might look like they have ties to the U.S. strong enough that they might just want to hang out there when they realize it's nice weather and, you know, there's Pizza Hut and things like that on every corner.
Just a question.
Yep.
Normally people tend to hide the fact that, you know, their sisters or brothers or some relatives are there in the US. The question is, if any of your relatives or anybody is there, they try to hide the fact and they say no.
Yeah, bad idea.
Yeah.
I think it's better to tell the truth and just explain. My family is there, but I'm here, I'm happy here. I like my job here. I'm only on assignment for this purpose. You know, those kinds of things. What if they sponsor you for a green card? Well, if they do down the road someday, I don't know. You know, that may come, but I don't intend on doing that now. I'm only going for this assignment. You know, be honest, I think, is the key, because later they could ask another question.
You get into it.
They'll get you. You know, they'll get you.
How do they really investigate? Do they really investigate on whether you have any visibility?
I don't think they do, but it is conceivable. You never know what they're going to do. I mean, I would go with the idea that they know everything. And that way, you're not going to be, you know, surprised.
They will have to go down, higher the hierarchy and see, how they are connected to the.
Yeah, very unlikely that they would ever do that. But one interesting thing is, down the road when they apply for a green card, or down the road if they apply for another immigration benefit that requires them to say if they're married or if they have children or family in the U.S., and they say something different, now there's two different records. And if it ever comes up again, they look like they were lying, and now there's fraud and there's a whole lot of problems. Waivers.
Has anybody would like to share some of the good or bad experiences in this particular visa during your yes, we're asking a question. Yep.
In most cases, a person gets a B1 visa but does not travel immediately. Now, when he does travel at a later point of time, say after 3 months or 6 months or whatever, what are the documents that need to be produced at the port of entry to convince that the reason why he's not used the visa for the last 6 months or 7 months or whatever?
I would bring the visa application package that was submitted to the consulate, at least a copy. And if it's old by that time, I would bring fresh documents basically saying the same thing. New pay stubs, I'm still employed, new letter from the employer inviting for this purpose. Certainly if the purpose of the visit was to come for a conference that has already started and ended, now you have a problem. You know, something could be wrong, and maybe you need to explain that or explain why, you know, something has changed, and give that to the officer when they come in.
Normally they do a proactive visa, they get a visa before, maybe with no intent, just to get the visa and keep it ready. And when they travel, the purpose could be totally different.
Right.
So in that case, I guess only the invite letter from the employer will help with the immigration.
In most cases, you would not be asked specifically, I think, entering like, okay, why did you apply for this visa? What's going on? That's going to be an exception. But it could happen. What's that?
Just the invite will help if they travel later also. The invite can...
A new invite letter, if it's been something that was done a long time in advance.
In spite of invite letter, there was a question on immigration last month.
one of our employees got held by immigration authorities.
Speak up, yeah.
Be a bit louder.
At the port of entry last month. Visas was being done 6 months back, and he was traveling last month, sorry. And we have got a new invitation letter stating that what purpose is going, and still is being asked several questions. It's been held up for almost 1.5 hours.
Wow. Yeah, I think,
Depends on the immigration officer again.
what's that?
Again, it depends on the
Yeah.
immigration officer.
It really depends. There's a human element that is subjective there. A bad day, a headache, something could happen to that person. They could be sick. They could just be an angry person, So you don't know what you're going to get. But even if they detain you, if you're truthful and you have good documents, you should get through the process successfully.
Yeah, we went through successfully because we already passed those information through the airline reservation system, the contact details, and we have given this information to our managers over there. The immigration officer has called them up and rechecked whether there is easily genuine or not.
Yeah, it's impossible sometimes to avoid everyone, but certainly a fresh letter, fresh pay stubs, documents. Sometimes too, I've seen clever tricks from immigration where they come and they'll say, let me see your business card. Now, if the business card has some different title than what is in the invitation letter, or something is inconsistent. Oh, your office is in Delhi. This says you work in, Bangalore.
But first of all, we won't suggest the employees. If he has a visa from other company, we won't suggest that he goes with the visa.
What I was saying is, like if an employee is promoted,
If there is
Yeah.
no invitation.
If the employee job title on his business card or her business card is different than that's a trick.